Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what I think about Christian secular literature. But one thing I've noticed is that secular literature does a really good job of capturing the human experience in kind of all aspects. It doesn't like simplify it. It doesn't make shallow characters. It like kind of shows us who we really are. And I think in some ways that could be even more valuable for our faith than the Christian literature.
Okay. Literature that is secular is literature that doesn't have God in it. For example, 50 Shades of Grey. Don't read that book.
Christian literature is the Bible.
Define Christian literature. I would define Christian literature as having anything to do with Jesus or Christianity, or somehow portraying Jesus as like the answer to like Jesus as the answer to like everything, like psychological problems. Jesus, and secular literature, I would define it as things that the world perceives or understands them to be, like for instance with psychology, how it talks about different chemicals in your brain and a chemical imbalance. A lot of Christians don't believe or agree with that. So that could be like the difference between secular and Christian literature. Christian literature reverts everything back to Jesus, and secular is more reason.
Christian literature is anything that can apply Christian values in your life. It doesn't have to be written with the perspective of a Christian author, but if you can apply Christianity to it or grow morally, then I think it can be Christian literature.
I definitely see a difference between Christian and secular literature. I think that when authors are writing with the intent for it to be Christian, the Christian values and themes are really evident. But I think that as a Christian, like, I can pull out the themes in secular literature that is more Christian, and I just think that like God's truths can be seen in any aspect that as Christians, that with that mindset that we are trying to find that, I think that God's truths and Christian themes can be found in secular literature, even if that's not the author's original intent. And I think that if people aren't reading it, though, to see that, I don't know if everyone will pick that out, but I think that if you are if that's what you're reading the book for, I think that you could find similarities between secular and Christian literature.
There's a difference between Christian literature and secular literature. In terms of Christian schooling, secular literature should also be taught, because how else would Christian students be able to form a worldview that can interact in a secular society? Examples of religious or Christian literature would be any biblical text, any devotional, any Christian novel that a writer has formed, theological debates, discussions, journals. Secular literature covers a much broader range, so Christian students and faculty members should also be introduced to secular literature, because otherwise I just feel like they wouldn't be living in the reality of today's world.